Today we are going to be talking about protein shakes, we're going to be talking about your training split, and we're going to be talking about ET, Eric Thomas, not the alien. Welcome to episode 31 of Run It Straight. Our first question today, anonymous, like most of them are. Can a 12-year-old have protein shakes or are they too young? If so, what would you recommend? I think by if so, they mean, if they're too young. But don't worry, they're not too young. Yes, they can have protein shakes is the short answer. Do you want to expand a little bit on that for them?
Yeah, sure. Yes, they can have protein shakes. Another one of those wives' tales when they say they're not allowed to or they can't actually have protein shakes.
It's just protein.
Yeah, it's just protein. It's food broken down into powder form.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah. So multiple reasons why you should be taking protein is a lot of the boys that we're finding personally in the program aren't eating anywhere near a sufficient amount of protein for their age and the amount of training that they're doing. So if they can't eat the amount of food or protein that's required, then you can supplement it with something like a protein shake.
I guess one of the reasons probably some people would ask that question is, I don't know whether that's specifically for this particular person, but we've got a lot of guys in the program that come to us and obviously they're trying to get leaner, they're trying to lose some body fat, and we know that for anyone who's trying to lose weight, you want to be consuming roughly around about 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, which if someone's a bit bigger, that can be a fairly significant amount of food. And to get that amount of protein in is perfectly doable, but it can be a little bit hard and people can be a little bit lazy sometimes. And
the biggest challenge we're finding with the young boys is school. Yep. So how do I get animal protein while I'm at school? So again, if you're not getting enough protein throughout the day through food, which you can, then supplement it with protein shakes.
Yep. Again, like you said, if you're not getting enough. So it's only if you're not hitting your protein goal, then you can look to it as an alternative. So it's within the word supplement. It's meant to supplement a proper diet. It's not meant to replace it. All it is, it's just protein. It's pretty simple, really. Anything else on that one? So to answer your question, yes, you can take it. Do you need to? That's complicated. It depends what your protein goals are and whether or not you're hitting them from your from just your regular diet. So use MyFitnessPal, track your food, track it for 3 or 4 days, see how much you're putting in, and then take it from there. Yeah?
Yeah, and if so, what would you recommend? If you were talking about if they can have a protein shake, which one would you take? That also depends on their situation. There is a lean one and there's what we call a bulker as well. So that's if someone's not getting enough calories, it's trying to put on weight, you'd go for more of a bulker. If someone's just trying to put on lean muscle and they're eating a sufficient amount of calories, you'd target more just a lean protein shake, which is lower calories.
Yep. Easy. Question 2, how should you split your training up? Like how many weight sessions, etc. Now, in episode, I think it was 26, is it 26 or 29? We actually went through this in a lot of detail, which is not that many episodes ago, so if you go back and have a click. Spiro can put a link up. We'll find exactly the episode we're talking about, Spiz. But a very brief rundown without us having any context at all. So just a little side note, please give us context to your question. An in-season program, because that's what we're coming into now. An in-season program that has a high workload because you're looking to improve, which we've talked about again during the season, not just maintain, might look something like this. So on a Monday, you might do lower body weights and then a stretch and sweat and stretch session, which is like trying to improve your mobility and your flexibility. You might do that in the evening. Then on the Tuesday in the morning, upper body weights. Tuesday evening, you're probably going to have club training. Wednesday, a field session, and then a mobility session again. Thursday, lower body weights in the morning, club training in the evening. Friday, upper body weights in the morning, and a conditioning session in the evening. That might be an off-feet conditioning if your legs are feeling a little bit heavy. Saturday, just get a bit of a sweat and stretch, mobility, really spend an hour and a half, 2 hours having a really good stretch, and then Sunday you play your game. This gets you 4 weight sessions a week, 3 to 4 serious mobility sessions a week, as well as 2 to 3 conditioning sessions. And the conditioning sessions, it's going to depend a bit on what you're doing with your club. Like a lot of clubs, usually Tuesday's fitness day and then Thursday's more ball work focus day, but it just depends on your own situation, and it also depends on how you are. If your fitness is where it needs to be, for us, we all often get the kids to run a Bronco as frequently as possible to just see where their fitness is. If your fitness is good, 1 or 2 sessions a week might be sufficient to maintain that throughout the season. If you're struggling and or if you are looking to drop some body fat, then you might need the 3 or 4. So like we said, it's a good start, but like everything, it completely depends on where you are now, where you've been and where you want to get to. Anything else more?
Yeah, I think just as a base, if you're a newbie or you haven't done much resistance training, just think that the minimum amount that you need to get in is two resistance sessions a week.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. If you're starting out, whole body workout twice a week is an absolutely great start. And you can do that for a fairly decent period of time and get some really, really good results before progressing it. But even if you're hitting weights twice a week, you still need to be getting your... And we haven't even touched on doing a whole lot of skill work, doing speed work, doing all of those things. Yep. So that was just sort of a general outline, and then you see where you go from there.
That's good.
Cool. Yeah. All right, our last question is not so much a question, but it is our education dump. So filling your time and filling your mind with the right food to fuel your growth. Previous episodes we've talked about Dave, I feel like I've missed someone. David Goggins, Tim Grover, Tony Robbins. Is there someone else?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I've done the big 3. Okay. All right. So we've talked about those guys. So again, go back, look them up on YouTube, Google them, go to Instagram, I won't tell you to go to TikTok because I don't like it. But today we're going to be talking about Eric Thomas, ET. Do you remember the first ET thing that you listened to? It's going back a while now, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is showing the age now.
I think he was probably the first motivational speaker that I actually listened to.
Yeah.
He brings a whole bunch of energy.
100%.
And he really gets you motivated enough to get your ass off the couch and do something.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what you're remembering. Motivation is like it's one of those things. You don't want to rely on it as an all the time thing, but it's something that you do need to get periodically to get you going. The same way, and a lot of people will say, well, do you need to get motivated every day? It's like, well, do you need to have a shower every day? Yes, but it doesn't mean you've got to shower all day. Have one shower and then you're good for a bit. And motivation can be a bit like that. But so Eric Thomas, or ET, he's a motivational speaker, performance coach. He blew up in, I think it was like 08, 09, when a speech went viral of his about wanting something as bad as you want to breathe. If you Google wanting it as bad as you want to breathe, Google it. If you search that in YouTube, you'll find the clip. I don't know, it's probably got like 20 or 30 million views by now. Actually, you know what? You won't have to search. Spiz, can you put the link in? Very good. So to give you a bit of background, he was born in Chicago and then he grew up in Detroit, single teenage mum. After a lot of arguments with his mum and then with his stepdad, he dropped out of high school, left house, and he slept on the streets for 2 years. And Detroit can get pretty damn cold. And he was literally eating, he was talking about how you get a really good idea for which bins to go to get, the leftover cheese out of a pizza box. So that he could live off that kind of food and those calories. But eventually he met a preacher who inspired him to go back to school and get like a high school equivalency thing. Eventually he met his to-be wife in the future. She encouraged him. He went to uni. It took like 12 years to get an undergraduate degree or something like that. A really long time, because the guy's not smart, so don't think, this is only for smart, super intelligent, but he's just a really hard worker. And then he went on, he started some programs for underprivileged youth, ended up becoming a motivational speaker, working with college level and then elite level athletes. He's easily the top motivational speaker within the NBA. He routinely goes out and talks to all the teams. He's done work with the NFL as well, like doing voiceovers for a lot of the promotional material, the ads and whatnot. And yeah, he's written 5 books. His biggest I won't say it was his biggest thing, but the thing that really blew him up, aside from that speech, was a series that he would put on every Monday up on YouTube called TGIM. Thank God it's Monday, and that you would have listened to a bunch of them.
Yep.
And I remember at the time, all the guys at the gym were listening to that. And, you know, it really does pick you up. There is a saying, you know, thank God it's Friday, but he sort of put a flip on that. And that's because, you know, a lot of people will say when they get to, oh, I'm glad it's Friday, it's the weekend. And his point of view is, well, your life shouldn't suck that much that the only thing you look forward to is that tiny little bit on the end. So it was a bit of a play on words with thank God it's Monday, because, yep, it's Monday, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's time to work really hard to make your dreams become a reality. And I think there's like 16 seasons of it. The episodes go for like, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, they're only short.
They're only short. And each season's probably got like, I don't know, 8 to 12 episodes or something like that. So if you want something to listen to, we're talking about this all the time, about how important it is to put the right information into your brain, and how everything. Just yesterday I was reading, I don't know where I was reading this, an article was published that was talking about how negative the media has gotten. And it was a really interesting article that was I think it was since 2013, where they knew that the amount of negative words that they use in an article increases the amount of clicks and the amount of time people reading it. And so it's just gone. It's gone completely bananas. So you need to be listening to things on the other side, things that are positive, things that are telling you about all of the things that you can accomplish if you put your mind to it and you put the work in. And that's what the education dump here is about. So, like I said, Goggins, Tim Grover, Tony Robbins, and now Eric Thomas is another one that you can add in there. I think that's it for this episode. Questions, please keep sending them in. We've got a bunch that we'll be using in the next few episodes. But, yep, come across to YouTube, come to Instagram, like, ask questions. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.